Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Thanks again, as always, for joining me today. It's a beautiful Sunday afternoon, just enjoying time with my Luna. And I was sitting out here with her, and I'm thinking about the coming week, and I was trying to think of, I've got all these recipes that I want to make for this channel, which is great because I've got a lot in the queue. But one really stood out to me, and I think if you go back to, I don't know, so many videos ago, I mentioned to you, I made that soup video, the West African soup video, and I mentioned to you that uh, the inspiration for that video came because I used to work in the financial district in San Francisco for many, many years, and just tons of options, great options, just wonderful lunch options. Um, so that was my go-to, that soup, and I'll leave that link in the description if you want to check out that recipe. But for this one, another go-to, my second, probably equally favorite, was this place. They made beef and chicken shawarma. So not everybody might be familiar what that is, but basically it's a Middle Eastern delicacy. They're wraps. So you might be familiar with like a gyro, but shawarma is a little bit different. It can be like a steak kind of consistency, but very thinly sliced, and tons of spices, tons of just these exotic flavors, and they put that in a lavash wrap with some tahini and hummus and vegetables, and then they grill that wrap before they give it to you, and it's kind of served up like a burrito almost. And boy, is that good! It's just really filling, just full of flavor. And so I thought, well, hey, that sounds like a really fun dish to make. And I kind of, I've delved into some of these items before in terms of recipes, so kind of knew the direction I wanted to go, but then looked into it a little bit more, put my own spin on it, and hey, this is what we're going to do for you. So what I'm going to do is tomorrow morning, get that meat marinating, and then I'm going to show you all the cool ingredients that go into this recipe, and that's what we're going to whip up. So I really hope you enjoy it. As you can see, channel mascot's happy to be here with all of you as well. She's taking it easy. And as always, very much appreciate all of you coming back to the channel to check out these videos. Thanks to my subscribers. If you already have not subscribed, please consider doing so if you like these kind of videos. Hit that notification button, hit that thumbs up, and yeah, so let's get right into it. And when you see me next, we'll show you what we're working with. All right.
And we are back. Wow. I think you guys would agree with me that what we have in front of us is a bouquet of amazing ingredients. Um, as I mentioned, we're going to be making a beef shawarma. We're going to grill that up outside. And then we're going to be making some homemade hummus, actually a jalapeno cilantro hummus, and then also some homemade tahini sauce. So this is going to be a real treat. Tonight, this is just a bunch of beautiful ingredients, have a ton of flavor, and I think it's going to work really well. So I'll just let you know what we're working with. Over there on the left here, you'll see we've got some lavash bread. If you're not familiar with that, that's kind of a flat bread, and it works really well with this dish, and that's going to hold everything together. So there we go there. Over there is basically going to be the marinade for our meat. We've got some paprika, some cumin, some cinnamon, allspice, coriander, pepper, salt, some garlic powder. That's going to be in for the meat, along with some lemons, lemon juice, pardon me, and the olive oil. So that's going to be our marinade. That's actually what I'm going to show you guys next, but let me finish showing you our rest of our ingredients. Kind of the star of our show, in addition to that steak, is there in the back, which is tahini. Tahini goes in the hummus and also, of course, in the tahini sauce. And I think tahini has such a wonderful flavor. I really enjoy it. So it's gonna work out well. Inside the shawarma wrap there, of course, we're gonna have some, we got some green leaf lettuce, some vine-on tomatoes. You can see that jalapeno there, which is gonna go in the hummus. Hiding there in the back, we see some chickpeas. Chickpeas or garbanzo beans. What I've done with those is I've taken the chickpeas out, but I've saved some of that sauce that was in the can because we might end up using some of that in the hummus. So that's what it is. They're hiding kind of way in the back. We've got some red onions going to go in that wrap. Of course, I mentioned the lemons, Italian parsley, and also our cilantro right there. And then, of course, garlic going to go in that hummus as well. So we have got beautiful ingredients, like I mentioned. We're going to have a really great cook today. And like I said, when I bring you guys back, I will show you how we get that meat marinating. Okay, so this is about 6 hours or so before I'm going to start grilling this meat up, and so that's about the amount of time I want to marinate it. You could also do it overnight. The more you marinate something, the better it's going to be, but that's about the time I'm working with today. So that's what we're gonna do. What we're gonna try to do with this meat here, you can see that our grain is running this way, right? With beef, you always want to cut against the grain, and I want to cut small pieces, okay? So I just want to get nice pieces, and then when we grill that, we're going to just grill it very quickly just to brown it, and then we should end up with very tender slices of beef shawarma in our wrap, which is what we're going for. So I'm going to finish cutting up this piece here, and then I will get that marinade going, and then I'll finish cutting up the other piece after we get that going. So you guys get the idea of that. So we've got a nice bowl here. So we'll get that over here. Let me just get that meat in there. Like I said, I'll put the rest of that in there in a bit. Let me just wash my hands just really quickly. And first step is this beautiful lemon. So we've got 2 lemons here. So we'll get our cool little lemon squeezer there. There's one guy, and then we'll bring another one. Okay. Okay, that's gonna be nice. And that acid is in the lemon is gonna help break down the meat to make it even more tender. So we're almost done with that lemon. There we go. And one more. Okay. Now, get that out of the way. We're going to do about 6 tablespoons of olive oil. So 1, I'd say 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 1 more. Good to go. Okay, starting out with that ground coriander, we're going to want about a tablespoon of all of these beautiful spices. So let's get that down. About a tablespoon, about right. We've got about a tablespoon of allspice, which is a really nice aromatic. Get that in there. Tablespoon of ground cumin, wonderful spice. Okay. We're going to get a tablespoon of the granulated garlic. So that'll be good. We've got our paprika. We're going to get a tablespoon of that. And of course, it looks like a lot of spice now, but remember, we got the rest of that steak that we're going to chop up in there. And we're going to mix that around. And all those aromatics are really going to bring out a lot of flavor and spice in this, just give you definitely a layer of flavor. So we got some salt, ground sea salt, and our ground pepper. And also a dash of cinnamon. Cool. So, like I said, I'm going to mix this all around and cut up that additional steak, and that is going to be our marinade for tonight's beef shawarma. All right, and we are back. So now what we are going to whip up is our hummus for our shawarma wraps. You can see we've got our chickpeas, garbanzo beans. They're also in the reserve some of that fluid that was in the can. We may end up using that later to thicken up the hummus if need be. So let's get those into the food processor here. Like I have a slotted spoon here so that we don't get any of that extra liquid in there at the moment. So we've got those in there. We'll set this aside. You can see over here we've got our tahini. So that's about 2 tablespoons of tahini. So we will get that into our hummus mixture. All right, looks pretty good. Put that aside. We're gonna make this a little bit spicy today, so we're gonna do a cilantro jalapeno hummus. So we've got our jalapenos in there. And I did leave some of the seeds in there just because I wanted to have a little kick on that. So we've got our cilantro, all right. Get that going there. We've got our lemons here. Oh, of course, our garlic. Let's get that in the mix as well. Okay. We've got our lemon. We've got the juice of 1 whole lemon, which is going to go in there as well. Okay. Handy little tool. Keeps all the seeds out of there, which is helpful. Okay. All right. And then we've got, I like a little bit of ground cumin in my hummus, so we're going to put a little bit of a dash of that in there as well. Not too much. Cumin has a very strong flavor, so you don't want to go too crazy with that. But there's that. We're going to end up adding some olive oil too, as that begins to thicken up. So now we've got our lid here. We'll get that going. Just pulse that a little bit, so we want to get everything fully incorporated. And then once it is, we will begin to add some of that olive oil, which is going to give us a nice consistency we want. Like I said, about 2 tablespoons. There's about 1, 2, and let's keep that going. I'm going to get that going for maybe like 10 or 15 seconds just to get everything really nice and blended. Now I'll show you what we kind of ended up with, and that looks pretty good. I think I might end up adding a little bit of that reserved, some of the what we had earlier, the leftovers from the beans. So just put a tad bit of that in there. See how that does for us. Okay, that's looking fantastic. So I'll show you guys what we ended up with there. Looks very nice. I'm going to put a little bit of salt and pepper in there, give that a taste, but I think we have what we want. So when I bring you back, we'll make that tahini sauce.
And we are back for our final fruit processing for this dish. So we've made our hummus. Now we're going to make that tahini sauce, which is actually something that kind of goes over everything. It's very similar to the hummus recipe, actually, but without the chickpeas and a little bit different. So first thing, we have our tahini again. So I'll get that mixed in there like that. And I tell you what, having a food processor for this type of dish today is invaluable. Talk about having the right tool for the right job, because it would be difficult to get all these things blended. In any event, so we've got now our garlic cloves are going to go in there. So we've got 4 of those. We've got our lemon, and we've got our cool little tool again, which is helpful. So 1 whole lemon will go in there. Okay. Remove that. All right. And finally, we've got some fresh Italian parsley. That's going to go in there. And then we're going to blend that and see how thick it is. We want it to be pretty thin, so we have some lukewarm water here that we may end up adding as well. But let's blend this down and see kind of what we ended up with here. And yes, we're definitely going to need some of that water, but add it in gradually, because let's just see what happens here. Let me add a little bit in. Oh, there we go. Perfect. I think that's kind of what we're looking for. It's kind of be a very, very thin consistency. Because like I said, essentially it's kind of like a dressing for the shawarma. So let's see what we got here. Oh, it's still pretty thick there. We might need another little bit of water. It's still thicker than I want. So I'm going to get a dash more water mixed in there. See what that does for us. Oh, and that looks perfect. As you guys can see, it has the consistency of like a dressing, salad dressing. So what we're going to do with that is, of course, that's going to be drizzled all over the top of everything. So when I bring you guys back, the fun part, or funner part for me, is like out in the grill. We're going to get that meat starting to grill up, and then we'll assemble this, and it's going to be great. So I'll bring you guys back in a bit. Okay, everyone, welcome back. So as you can see here, we've got our coals piping hot. We've got that grill also really hot. You probably recall when I was marinating that meat, I mentioned to everyone in that, these are very thin cuts of steak, and so they're going to cook very quickly. And the worst thing you can do is you don't want to cook these too long, because you're going to end up with like a tough piece of meat. So what we're going for here is just a quick brown on either side, maybe a minute, maybe even less than a minute on each side, and then reserve those off the heat, off the high heat, put them over to the side. It's almost going to be kind of like a stir fry, same kind of concept. So let's get started with that. And we'll get some of this meat on there. And oh boy, that smells good. It's going to be so good. Ooh, hear that sizzle on there? That's what you want. And as you can see, or maybe you can see, super thin cuts, so they're going to cook, like I said earlier, very quickly. So let me get those layered on there. And, take your time. It might be a few batches, and then we'll put on the rest. Um, but as you can see, whoa, turned out really good. And you really get that rich aromatic from all those exotic spices and herbs. And so that smells very close to what I remember beef shawarma smelling like. So I think we're on the right track here for sure. So when I bring you guys back, I will assemble this and show you how we bring it all together. All right, and we are back, and we are ready to prep this. And this looks so good. This smells amazing. You can see we've got our bouquet of beautiful veggies and sauces here. So let me show you how you guys how to get this down. So remember our cilantro, jalapeno hummus. We're gonna get some of that down there. Just you want to kind of spread that over the whole shawarma like that. Okay. Okay. Put that over to the side. Then we've got our beautiful beef shawarma. So, oh boy, that is beautiful. So we let that rest for a little bit after we cooked it. Now we're just going to layer that on there. A little bit more. All right, there we go. Okay. We've got some beautiful green leaf lettuce right there. All right. We've got our tomatoes. Okay. A couple tomatoes on there. Some people like cucumbers on this kind of thing. I'm not a big cucumber fan, so I prefer that, but like a little bit of red onion. We've got some of that tahini sauce. Let's get some of that rolled down on there. Okay. Ooh, that looks amazing. Okay. A little bit of cilantro. Okay. And then I personally like a little bit of this chili garlic paste, so we're just going to load a little bit of that on there. Okay. Like that. All right. Now, I'm going to fold this the same way one might fold a burrito. So we're just going to kind of come up with it. All right. Fold over. Okay. Take your time. No rush. Kind of fold under. Okay. And there we go. And then what are we going to do with this now? Well, I'm going to show you. So give me one moment. I'll bring you guys back. So as a final touch, you can see what I'm doing here is where that seam where I folded it, I'm just going to throw that on the grill just for a few minutes just to get some nice grill marks on there. It's going to finish it really well. When we come back, I'm going to bring you guys back for that big bite. And we are back. And oh, am I waiting for this? I'll kind of show you guys what we ended up with there. It just looks so good. I know it's going to taste great. So nothing else to do but to dive in. Let's go for it. Okay. That is spot on. There is so much flavor in there. The meat, the spices on that meat really come through. I hope I didn't get it all over. The hummus, the tahini sauce, all those veggies, a little bit of that chili paste, the fluffiness of the vash bread. This is a wonderful recipe. I know you guys would like it, so please try it out. And as I always say, if you're not already, please subscribe. I really appreciate it. Hit that thumbs up button, get those notifications, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one.